Hey guys, so before we start this overview of my slush collection, I've decided to sort this into distinct categories. The first category we're going to start with is the most basic category of all, just plain default slushes, like what they are. And then we'll get into some of the more interesting stuff. For now, we're just going to go over the types and specific slushes I have. So up first, we have the Slush Keychain. Here he is. This is the modern, sparkly-eyed Slush Keychain. Nothing too notable. They have these, most of them anyway, in the modern sense, have these spinny ones, so no matter which way they're facing, they can always spin to face the right direction. I really like these new spinny tags because I feel like they're just more modern, and I feel like there was a good change. These guys, they don't have any white on their belly. It's just on their chest. And of course, slushes have white all down their belly and butt. And then they also have white paws. So that's not something I really like. I like my slushes to be as accurate as possible to the source material. But other than that, pretty standard. No mouth, which is odd, and I don't care for that. And then the tail is just one piece of fabric. It's not even sewn together. It's just a single double-sided piece of fabric. And that's about all you need to know about the Keychain Slush. They still sell these in stores. You can get them anywhere, like CVS or any like gas station or 7-Eleven or whatever. They usually sell them. They're usually just clipped onto the side of the traditional Beanie Boo like cart. Next, we have a Slush Keychain, but the older version. This version is before they started doing the sparkly eyes, so they all have solid eyes. Basically, I love this version a lot more. Not because of the eyes, but because of all the features they used to have before they started skimping out on them for cost-effective reasons. At least I assume that's why. I mean, come on. It takes a lot more effort and material to make it look as good as the main original plush than it does to just make a cheaper, smaller version. Plus, these guys are small, so it's really hard to get all these details in, and in quality, too. So I do understand why they made the decision, but I feel like they could have just kept doing these. I feel like they kind of cheaped out. But nonetheless, let's go over it. So, their eyes, of course, are not sparkly. Their nose is actually flocked, which means it has that fuzzy stuff. All of the slushes that have no sparkle eyes all have flocked noses, and that's not something that's super obvious from the pictures when you look at them. But they all have fuzzy noses. It's a shame though, because a lot of the time when you buy a used one, they're either have parts missing or all the flocked has come off, which is a shame. But I like about this is that they have the mouth, which is embroidered on. Out of any of the details I wish the new slushes could have kept, I would have loved to keep the mouth. It gives it so much more personality. Like, for instance, you look at this guy and you look at him. He has like no expression. He just looks like scared or nothing. He looks less alive. But when he has this mouth, he just looks so much more like welcoming and friendly. He does, of course, have the belly that goes all the way down his chest into the belly and on his butt. He, of course, has the proper white paws that I really appreciate they put the time in. And, of course, his tail is sewn. It's multiple pieces of fabric sewn together. And not only that, but they also added the blue fur on the tail, which is a detail that I would have always liked, but honestly, I'm shocked they even went that far. Because not only is there 2 pieces of gray fabric, there's also there's probably only 1 piece of fur fabric, blue fur fabric on the bottom. So I am happy that they went through the extra trouble at least for the old ones, to make them high quality and as accurate to the main plush as they could, just shrunken down. Alright, the next ones we're going to go over are some more keychains, because we're not done with the keychains yet. We got plenty more keychains before we start moving into the big boys. So the next one we have in the same category of the other ones, keychain, and is kind of retaining the same look as the keychains, or at least the same color palette. We have this Squishaboo, I think that's what they're called, I don't know. The Squishmallow knockoff, basically. Beanie Boos. Now, something that's very strange about these is, one, it's supposed to be slush, obviously. This guy has glitter inside of his ears. The actual, like, normal size non-keychain slush Squishaboos don't have glitter in their ears. And they also don't have plastic eyes. These guys have plastic eyes, but the actual, like, Slush Squishaboos, their eyes are like pieces of fabric sewn in and half embroidered. So I find that to be very interesting. I kind of do understand why they didn't put the eyes on the big ones, because they're meant to be soft and squishy, and if you put big eyes on those, like plastic eyes, they would be very hard and not squishy. And since the fabric's so soft, you could feel the backing of the eyes. Like, I can feel the backing of the eyes on this guy. If I just pinch, you can feel that. But if you take, like, a slush like this, you can feel it, but it's a lot more effort. So I do understand why they went that route, but I also understand why they did plastic eyes for the smaller version. The smaller you go, the harder details are. And also, it's a keychain. You're not supposed to be snuggling it. It's just supposed to go in your backpack. So you're not really too worried about the eyes being hard or clunky, because they're so tiny, and it's probably just easier all around. I'm in support of that decision. And also, I like that they have the mouth on there, which, I mean, if they didn't, it would just be like a blob, an unrecognizable blob. So they probably had to, but I appreciate the effort nonetheless. And up next, my dreaded friend, the Slush Flippable. This one in particular kind of has a Megamind going on. Again, they have the spinny keychains. Not all of them have that. In fact, if I forgot to mention this, if I pull up this guy, they don't have a spinny keychain. It's just one solid piece of plastic. But this guy in particular, I don't really like the Slush... Excuse me. I don't really like the Slush Flippables. I don't think they're comfortable. I think they're kind of gimmicky. They're crunchy. It's like they're supposed to be a stuffed animal and cuddly, but they're covered in sequins, so they're not very cuddly. And also, because it's a plushie, they're like the sequins, you can't really draw with them in most places. Like, yeah, you can flip these back, and they go silver. You can flip them back and forth on the back of the head and maybe a little bit on the body. But for the rest of, like, this entire plush, it's, like, hardly really flippable, which is kind of ironic considering their name are Flippables. I find these to be very gimmicky. I don't find them to be anything more than just a quick reskin, because a while back when they made these, sequins were kind of the trend. I find these to be lazy. I feel like if they were going to do Flippables, they should have worked with this design more, not just... Because the vast majority were just, like, recolor, or not recolors, but, like, existing plushes just now with sequins. Some of them, like, these are a little larger than the originals, I believe. I think that's more due to the fact that they're have to put these sequins on, so they are a little larger. And I know the normal sequin plushes are also a little larger than the original. Other than that, though, other than a slight resize, I find them to be gimmicky. And I wish they would have made, like, dragons and lizards and crocodiles, because that would actually work with the scale theme. Like, fishes, anything with scales or feathers. I feel like that, or probably mostly just scales, I feel like that would have worked better. But just taking pre-existing designs and covering them in sequins, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't really work. It's also worth noting, I really wish that the side that they made, like, the most prominent would have been silver. Because Slush is supposed to be gray on this part, not blue. When you flip them, it's silver. But I would rather that when you flip him, it's blue. Because his main color has always been silver. He looks more like Prince, which honestly, we'll put a pin in Prince. He is like the bane of my existence. But I really think this would have worked better with silver. Alright. So this guy is a bit of a unique one. He is actually smaller than the Keychains, but I'm just doing him next. This is the Slush, like, blind bag figurines. They're... something, again, that's not super obvious when you look at them. Well, it wasn't obvious to me. It may have been to you. But the gray is all flocked. The ears are flocked. They have these little tags, like fake tags, which I thought were a really cute design choice. The white is not flocked. It's just hard plastic. And the eyes are glittery. They're very cute. It's something, again, that's not noticeable. But when you turn them side to side, they kind of... Oops, shoot. They kind of follow you, because they're, like in there. So they're kind of like follow me fursuit eyes, kind of. Again, a very cute plush. Or, sorry, not plush. A very cute slush. And I really like these blind bag figurines. I thought they were a fresh new change. They were something to break the mold. Something outside of the usual comfort zone. And I'm just glad that they took a step to try something new. Something that's not just a reskin or just a random gimmick. They actually had to go through and do this. So I think that's good on them. It was nice stepping out of your comfort zone. This guy, this is a slush. He is a flippable and also a teeny tie. So he's both a flippable and a teeny tie, which teeny ties are basically anything that looks like a loaf of bread. If it's a loaf of bread, it's more than likely a teeny tie. So he's got blue backs of the ears, which also, just the normal flippables also had or at least the keychain one also had blue backs of ears. Glitter inside, of course. He's got a blue belly, which I found a little weird because, you know, he doesn't even have a blue belly on the main design. He has a white one. But whatever, it's just the bottom. You're not really meant to see it because they lay down like this, so I'm not too hard on it. A single sheet of blue glitter fabric for the tail. Again, not a huge fan of that, but whatever. I would have at least liked it to be sequin fabric, but that would have been hard to do because of how small it is. So whatever. I will get into this later. This is an official slush, but the other official slush teeny tie and the one that I'm going to get to, the one that I own that's technically not a slush, is very anger-inducing to me specifically and no one else. But we'll get into that in a bit. Anyway, this guy's just, it's generic, it's whatever. He's just nothing too notable. Alright, let's move on to some more slushes. These, I believe, actually used to be called beanie balls, which I find weird because there already were beanie balls, like way before these that were already discontinued. So I found it weird that they brought them back, but then just called them beanie balls. But then they actually ended up renaming them to Puffies. So I actually like that. I like that we can change them to Puffies, keep them separate, because these really are just an entirely different toy. So let's go into this. This, for a slush, is really unique. It's not exactly my cup of tea in terms of design, but I appreciate that they went ahead and changed up his design a little. Because it's more just a personal preference. I really just don't care for these types of designs. But it is very cute, and it is much different than the usual slush. And I actually do appreciate that they, again, went outside their comfort zone for this. I will say, I'm getting kind of tired of the glitter fabric, especially because these feet and paws are supposed to be white. Slush has white paws. They made them blue. I don't care for that. I like them to keep at least the original, like, core design and color palette and, you know, where things are supposed to go. Like, I'm fine if they turn them different or try different styles or different shapes. But please, I prefer if they keep the core colors of Slush in the right place. But they also added these cute little blush. I actually am for that. I think that was really cute. I just don't like it when they, like, change existing colors. But if you want to add extra colors, I think that's cute. He's got little eyebrows, which is very unique. No other Slush, I don't think, has eyebrows. He's got, again, glitter plastic eyes. He's got an open mouth, which is interesting. It's pink, which does actually confirm that the inside of Slush's mouth is pink, accurately to lore. I disagree with that. His inside of the mouth, I've always had canon as blue. Oh well. He also has dots, like little whisker dots on his mouth, which I'm surprised they did it all because it's so small. That would have been a lot of extra effort. Same with the eyebrows. But I actually like that. I think that's really cute. And he's the only Slush, I think, that has that, which is interesting. His tail, again, is just one piece of fabric, but they kind of do a different shape than they normally do, so that was interesting. It's very soft, but again, I always would have preferred them to use, like, sewn fabric, or at the very least made one half of the bottom blue, because, you know, that's Slush accurate. But it is an improvement. I do like how they actually made it a shape and not just, like, an unrecognizable nub. I do like that they made it, like, pointed and shaped. I feel like that is a slight improvement. This is actually a very recent Tai Corporation release. This is a Beanie Bouncer. It's a bouncy ball with fabric on it, so it bounces. It's very hard. It's not something that, it's like very rubbery or foamy. I don't know what's on the inside, honestly, but it's very hard. It's not like a snuggly toy, but it is extremely soft on the outside. It is not made with, like, the normal fabric for Beanie Boos. Also, apparently I was wrong. I just noticed just now looking at him that he has, like, the same mouth and dots as the Beanie Balls Slush, and he also has the blush, very subtly, but he has it. He has fabric eyes. they're partially embroidered, but they look to be in different parts, which I find it weird that they, actually I don't, because, you know, if they were hard plastic eyes, they would have broken, because this guy's meant to be chucked and thrown and stuff. So I do actually get why they did that. Also, his inside of the ears are like a dark royal blue. The outside, again, is gray. He's got cute little face, no legs, but he does have the formed pointed tail like the other one, so I like that. Again, wish it was blue on the bottom, but, you know, can't have it all. His tag is interesting. I've never seen a tie tag like this on any of the other slushes, I don't believe. I don't know, do they have it on that? Like, no, they don't. So even on the Puffy, they don't have a tag like that. They just have the traditional loop tag, which honestly I find way cuter than this. He's got, it's hard to even read because, yeah, it says Beanie Bouncers, but it's like half sewn in, so I can't see it very well. It says Slush, birthday is April 30th, which, yeah, I don't like how they just made it bold like that. I found that very weird. I feel like I preferred the other tags, but again, it's just a tag. If you don't like it, you can always remove it. And then I do actually like the back with the logo and stuff. I feel like that's a lot more crisp. I don't like the front. Maybe I'm just resistant to change, but I just don't care for it. I was happy that they actually made a Slush Beanie Bouncer. Again, Slush is one of like the very, very few original Beanie Boos that are still being sold today. You can still go into like a 7-Eleven and find a Slush. They still are being produced pretty much the same way they've always been. So I do like that, and that's thankful for me because, you know, I love Slush. So it's nice that we're still getting new products with Slush, so I'm hopeful. And while I do have positive feelings about this particular toy, it's kind of a double-edged sword because, as you guys may know if you're just a Beanie Boo fan in general, with the Beanie Bouncers, they completely destroyed the website of Tai.com. You were able to go to Tai.com, order any Beanie Boo you wanted, and have it delivered to you. They even offered free shipping options above certain pay amounts. At one point, basically, if you had an account, it was always free shipping. But then they changed it to you had to buy over a certain amount, which I was fine with. I get it, inflation, whatever. But then they just completely removed the ability to not only buy any Beanie Boos ever, they completely changed the site to almost entirely focus around the bouncers. Which, I'm sorry, I love the bouncer, it's fine. It's not your star product, Tai. You completely trashed your website. I don't know how the sales of Beanie Bouncers are going, but the whole website is riddled with AI slop, flashy, spammy stuff, weird, like, things. They have a posting feature now, which is really poorly made, because I was on there looking. You just see the new posts. There's no way to search. Well, there is a way to search, but there's no way to really scroll through or filter or anything. There's no top post. There's only just what is the newest post. And it's all just like, and half of those posts are like asking what happened to the original website and where can I buy the Beanie Bouncers. Because when Beanie Bouncers were first released, they weren't available to buy on the site, which I found to be odd. I'm like, okay, maybe they're just like, you know, they're not available for purchase yet online. And they'll come eventually. But I did find it weird that in the writing, they're like, half the fun is searching for them. It kind of gave off like that false scarcity vibes. It's like, why not just sell them? And then once they completely removed Beanie Boos entirely from the website, like literally you cannot buy Beanie Boos. They're not even really prominently featured on the website. It's all Beanie Bouncers. And I just really am getting that false scarcity vibes. Like they're trying to make you think these guys are super, super artificially rare. They're not. And the only reason that these guys were that rare, or why I struggled even to find this guy, was only because of how much they made me jump through hoops to try and find it. They have plenty. They're not like made out of any special materials. They're not like super duper rare. They're making them seem more rare than they are, and they should just sell them like normal. I hate this collector's market that they're trying to artificially create. Just let people buy your toys. People are going to get angrier. You're not Squishmallows. You'll never be Squishmallows. Know your lane and just have the toy. This is the sparkly-eyed version. You know him well. Also, apparently, according to the Slush, or old Beanie Boo website that's now defunct, apparently, this Slush is actually a girl, but I've always seen Slush as a boy. So, in my mind, Slush is transgender. No, but I prefer to see Slush as a boy. You can make your Slushes whatever gender they want, but I always see my Slushes as boys. This one in particular is a really soft slush. He's got a very big fluffy tail, very cute little face, big soft ears. Again, this is the ideal. This is the first slush. This is the model of all future slush releases, no matter the product, should be based around. This guy. If he has a blue tail, he should have a blue tail. If he's got blue ears, he should have blue ears. If he's got white paws, white chest, whatever. All the design choices should be centered around making them accurately to this as possible. You can change the shape, you can change the design, the style. I still think they should be at core this. With that being said, let's move on to the actual original slush, which is this guy. This is when they had the matte eyes, the non-sparkly eyes. And again, while his shape is slightly different because he's older and, you know, he had a slightly different pattern, still, the center design, blue eyes, blue ears, white, point, paws, belly, blue tail under the tail. Perfect. This is how it should always be. I'm not going to be super mad if you make slight design changes, like the blue paws, whatever. It's not a big deal. I just would really prefer they kept it to the source material. Now, here we go. We have another flippable. And this is the last slush I'm going to do before I have to call it night. Because I apparently am being loud about slush. Which, honestly, fair. I am loud about slush. But we'll resume this. I'm going to say that this slush in particular, again, he's a flippable. He's a sequin. And it is a little easier to flip him here. But again, like I said with the previous ones, I would hope that silver would be the default. Because silver or gray is the default for slush. It should always be the default for slush. This looks way more like prints than it looks like a slush. The nose is bigger, I think, on this one. Maybe not. Let me just pull up original. Yeah, nose is bigger. Much bigger, actually. Probably because these guys are slightly bigger for some reason than the normal slush. I'm actually for that. I think that's a cool idea. But I do wish they... I don't know. I feel like they just kind of changed him way too much. Again, his paws, they're not white. Well, I mean, they're white, but they're not paw just white. They're whole body white. It's connected to his chest, belly white. This really, it feels just like an entirely different toy. They labeled this as slush, and this is one that I would actually be fine if they did not label as slush. Because I get mad when they take plushies that are very obviously designed off of, based off of, and supposed to be slush, and then they name them something completely different and irrelevant for no reason at all. I hate that. But this guy is different enough from the original slush that I would not complain if they named him anything else. In fact, I think he should have been either Prince or a completely different name. And I only have him because he is technically an official slush, so that means I want and collect him. But the flippables are really just not my favorite in my collection. I find them to be annoying and not fun and gimmicky and, again, crunchy, not snuggly. Compared to this guy, also, he doesn't even have the paws. He's covered in sequins where it should be white, but this guy is covered in white where it all honestly should be sequins. It's inconsistent. I just don't care for it. Alright, guys, I am back. I was coughing a little bit, and I'm like, oh, excuse me, sorry, I'm coughing a lot, I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, well, that was, like, foreshadowing to the fact that today, I would wake up to try and record the rest of this video, because I was late when I was recording it. It was foreshadowing, because I woke up with a cold and an itchy throat, so it was so bad, it was, like, really bad, my throat felt swollen and itchy, I had a cough drop, I had some peppermint tea with a little bit of honey in it, and I'm feeling a little better enough to the point where I think I can talk and make this video. But if I sound flickin' sick, I'm sorry, but I want to get this video out for this week. I don't want to use the footage I have for my upcoming video that is supposed to be for next week, so we're just gonna do this. This is the medium-sized sparkle-eyed slush. This one in particular I named Borzoi because his nose is really weirdly big. I don't know why, but that's his name. And I bought him specifically. There was a bunch of them. There was like 3 or 4 different ones of this size at the store I went to, but I only really wanted to buy one. So I bought the one with the derpiest looking face because I like it when they look silly and unique. I mean, anyone can have a pristine slush, but how many times can you go into a store and be like, yes, borzoi? So I always seek out the slushes with the weirdest features and faces and lopsided eyes because, you know, no one else is going to buy them and I'll treasure them forever. Moving on, these big slushes, at least this one that I'm holding right now, this is like, I believe, a newer version. Some of the sparkly-eyed ones have... Okay, so he's like tight. He's like really tightly sewn. He's very... I don't know how to describe it. He's like very almost like cheap, or like you can tell he's been factory produced like quickly. He's not very squishy. He's very tight, almost like he's overstuffed. But some of the sparkly-eyed medium slushes aren't like that. Some of them are very like soft and normal, but somewhere along the line they all look like this now. They like changed the way they manufacture them maybe. I don't know. They all have the same fur, same basic features, same design, same pattern. But something they change in the way they make these makes some of the newer ones feel, look, and seem cheaper. It's not so noticeable that they're like a bad product. It's just a weird thing that I've noticed. It's a very subtle and slight decline in quality. His nose is bigger, sparkly eyes, same basic stuff. I believe actually if I pull over this guy, I wonder if they have similar sized noses. They are slightly different size, but they are very similar. And this is supposed to be a small one, and this is a big one. I understand why the big one has a bigger nose, but I'm still confused on why, I don't know. Either way, there's not much to really say about this. It's just a slush. Oh, camera's going wonkle. There we are. There's not really much to say about him. He's just a slush, but bigger. Very standard. Then we have the matte-eyed large slush, or medium-sized slush. See, this is what I was talking about. See how squishy he is and soft? Of course, most of the original matte-eyed ones are very soft and squishy. But compared to this guy, let's do a squish test. See, this guy, he's very squishy, very soft, really all around the board, a very cuddly guy. This guy, he can squish, but he's much bouncier. Like, you can tell, like, when I squeeze, this one, you can squeeze way more. This one has a limit. He is made with a different material. It's very similar, but it's very soft. And I guess this is something that I just noticed, but his fur on his body, or at least the back of the head, goes the wrong direction. It goes up. And actually, if you go and pull up a new slush, now it goes down. Again, I always prefer the old ones usually. I just feel like they put a lot more effort at the time to making them look good, which isn't something that's exclusive to Beanie Boos. I mean, that's kind of just the thing for everything now. I mean, everything has an app. Everything works poorly. Nothing is quality product anymore. Everything breaks and is cheaply produced or maximized for cost effectiveness and not actual customer enjoyment. I actually bought this myself. This is basically, I don't know, Tai Fashion, and it's just like a little coin purse of slush, but specifically, again, the flippable slush, because they just had to slap that on everything. It's got a very nice stripy interior. On the zipper, it's got this little hang tag, so you can hold on to it with your, like, thumb or whatever. But it's also got the original tag, which says Tai Fashion, which is interesting, because this is a flippable category. This is a fashion category, and it's also a Beanie Boo category. So I understand why they didn't put all that on the tag, but it would have been funny to be like, Beanie Boo, fashions, flippables. It just would be funny to me. But it's also got this fake tag that's supposed to go on the zipper, and so you can pull that. I love that. I think that's a really cute detail, and I'm glad they are, like, loving that, because these tags, they're iconic, and I think they know they're iconic, using them as decoration. Like, they put them on the figurines, and then they also put them on, like, as zipper tags, whatever. So I really do like their, like, being like, yeah, that's us. So this is the, I believe there is a bigger size. I don't own one, but this is the medium-sized Squishaboo. Like I had said earlier with my keychain, which I'm going to bring out briefly, they have some weird differences that I've
that kind of perplex me a bit. The one that I understand the most is the eyes. These are fabric eyes with like embroidered edges and sparkly glitter. I think that's fine. This guy has plastic eyes, like I have said. Makes sense, right? The inside of this guy's ears is a light blue, which actually is even lighter than actual Slush, which I don't care too much about that because it's blue, I'll take it, but it is a bit strange that for the Keychain version, they went back to the darker, more Slush accurate blue, which is fine, but they also put glitter in the ears. I don't know. I find that weird. I don't like the inconsistency. I wish that they would keep them all consistently the same, at least within their own category. But both of the ears are blue. I just am not a fan of the glitter fabric, I guess. It gets worn off really easily over time. And it's not soft. And it's just, they've been using it so cheaply for so long too. It's just not my favorite. Oh, and I just noticed this too. So that is so weird. I only just noticed this right now. So he does have a tail. The inside of his tail is white, which I'm happy they even put an inside. That is nice. It's white though. But then we go on to this guy. Not only does he also have a tail, but his inside is blue. What is going on here? What is with all these inconsistencies? I actually love this tail. I find it weird that they didn't do fur, but I don't really care. I'm just happy that he has an under the tail at all and also has 2 pieces of sewn fabric. But like, what is with this inconsistencies in the Squishaboos? I'm not a fan of that. I think they should all, if they're in the same category, it's just supposed to be that, but smaller. Maybe remove some, I don't agree with it, but if you're going to remove details to make it easier to produce and cheaper to produce, fine. But why are we adding new things that aren't on the other ones? I find that really weird. Can we all just keep them consistent, please, Tai? It makes my life annoying. This is the Slush Backpack. Love him. They do not sell these anymore. I believe they were sold at like Justice or Claire's or something. I don't remember. But he's real cute. I love him. I love how he's like so small, he's completely unusable. And because he's also stuffed with stuffing, he's even more unusable because like that it can only fit my hand. There is nothing else that can be fit into this now that I put my hand in it. Like I don't even think like even as a child's backpack, that is way too small. There's so much stuffing you can hardly put anything in this. It's just gray on the inside. Has adjustable straps. I, of course, can wear it, but it looks really stupid. So when I do wear him, which is not often, but I do occasionally wear him, I'll just attach, like, a purse strap from, like, some of my leftover purses that I used to wear back when I was still identified as female and begrudgingly wore purses. Now I just put everything in my pocket because I never really had anything in the purse besides my wallet anyway. But when I do wear him, I'll just attach, like, a purse strap to here into like one of these and then wear him as like a crossbody, almost like a fanny pack. But yeah, no, I like him. I like how he looks just like a Slush, but with like a hole in the back of his head and straps. I like that. As a collector who's not gonna really wear him as intended anyway, it's cute and I like it. Yeah, it's fine. I believe these were sold separately, so by the time these came out, I believe the actual like previous Slush purse I just showed you were already not a thing anymore. They were like, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure those were already discontinued by the time this Flippables purse came out. And again, we're here at the inconsistencies again, which is making me very angry. Actually, that makes me very angry. I don't know how I never noticed this. Okay, new anger. Okay, now I'm going over my entire collection and comparing and contrasting. I am now finding new things to be angry about. So let's start here. Let me just get with the overview of him before I get into why he is now making me very angry. He's actually, I do think, being used as a bag-wise, he is an improvement. He's less stuffed, which makes him kind of floppy. But if you were to unzip him, he has so much more room in here than the other ones. Still not a lot, but I would say it's enough for like a child bag. Maybe not for school, but just to wear, like going to the park or something. Perfect. I think that's fine. And he has the same stripy interior, of course, and once you fill him with stuff, he'll puff right back out. So I think that's fine. I think that's an improvement, actually. However, of course, I'm always critical of the sequins. I just don't like them. But I will say it does work better on the bag. There's a lot more, since it's like floppier, not as stuffed, there's a lot more leeway, and you actually can use these as intended. So I think that actually works fine on the bags. I don't like sequins because I think just the concept of them is kind of gimmicky. But you know what? I'll take what I can get. Now to the inconsistencies that are really making me angry. I don't know why they make their lives harder and decide to change. Like, if this is just supposed to be a bag version of the Flippable Slush, why are they so drastically different? So first things first. The ears. Same thing that I was getting onto the other one about. This one has glitter ears. The Keychain and all the other ones I own. Glitter ears, glitter ears, glitter ears, normal ears. I'm glad that they have normal ears, but I wish they were all normal ears or they were all glitter ears. Pick one. Why are we making these so inconsistent? I wish they all had ears like this, to be honest. But I'd rather them all have glitter ears if it meant that they were all going to be consistently the same. I'd rather that. So that's the first thing that's making me angry. Now, I was getting onto this guy before because his legs and arms and the whole underbelly are all white, which, if you don't know, is supposed to just be the paws that are white. But for some reason, they changed it. Well, look at this. He's back to normal for this one. He has white belly and flippable arms, paws that are the right color, which I'm glad. But again, why is only he like this? Incredibly inconsistent. Don't care for it. If you're gonna change the original design deliberately, make it all across the board at least. So that makes me angry. And then here we have this blue fluff tail, which you might be saying, Zach, why is that making you angry? Why do you care? Isn't that what you wanted? And you're right, it is what I wanted. I do like the blue fluffy tail. Oh my god, once again though, white. He's got a white fluffy tail, which again is why I think this should just be an entirely different character. It should not even be Slush. But why are we going back to the basics with this guy and not the actual plush that's like the most... This is supposed to be the core plush. The normal size individual plushes are supposed to be the core plush that all the accessories and extra merch are based off of. And if you mess up the original one, don't go back to the cool stuff for the bag. You gotta make it accurate to the core plush. And it just makes me so angry that they just... Like, this is very prevalent with Tai and their characters. And I don't know if it's prevalent with other Beanie Boos, but it's at least prevalent with the one I like. They constantly mess with things, change things that don't need to be changed, and are incredibly inconsistent in a way that is so incompetently annoying, and it pisses me off that they had to go out of their way to do it. It's literally so anger-inducing. We have the giant Slush. He doesn't really fit on the camera, but he is pretty standard. He's got a big old nose. I actually really like the big old nose. Not very cuddly. This is more like a decorative plush, something you just put in like the corner of your room to look at and then take out to play with. It's not really super cuddly due to its big plastic eyes and nose. It's got big blue ears. The ears are actually very interesting. They have like a stiffer fabric for the blue, so they can stand up, which I like. I feel like that's a good detail because a lot of companies, not Tai, but plush companies in general, will put like pointy ears on a plush, and then they'll just not do anything to keep them up, so they'll be constantly falling over, and I don't care for that. This one has actually little foam pieces in the legs to help them keep their shape, which I am all for. It's a good idea. He's still got the beans. Very nice. Blue tail, all is well. Again, not really much to say. He's just Slush, but bigger, pretty much. But I like that. I like consistency. I like it. Everything's well. I do think the pattern is different. They definitely adjusted the size of the head, because when I dissected a medium Slush to make my upcoming that I will show you big Slush, the head was much bigger in proportion to the body. I think the reason why they shrunk the head on this one is to make it look more natural, because the bigger you get, the more obvious it becomes how giant their head is compared to their body. Like, for instance, here, his head is like basically the same size as his body in length. So I do understand why they went with that decision. It just makes him look more natural, and I like that. I like how my giant Slush is derpy, so I don't mind. But I think that was a good decision on their part. I would have taken it either way, but good decision. This guy, he's a standard Slush pretty much. Nothing too special, except one thing. He has what I like to call box head syndrome. If I pull out my normal slush, or any of my like usual slushes, like I don't have a good example over here, but my big slush, see how his head's round, puffy cheeks? That's what they're supposed to look like. I don't know how this happens, but it's prevalent enough in more than just slush, but plenty of Beanie Boos, where something happens in production where they sew it just ever so slightly wrong, and their heads come out very square. This is one of the more prevalent examples, but there are some very extreme examples. I've never seen one in a slush so extreme, but I have seen other Beanie Boos in videos or for sale that have just such extreme box head syndrome that they literally look like they're from Minecraft. This guy is on the higher end of box head syndrome, which is why I have him, because I wanted an example of a box head. But I still love him. Sometimes they really do just like have dead corners. It's very strange. I don't know how that happens, because it's supposed to be a round head with puffy cheeks. I don't know what happens in production where something that is designed to be round becomes square. I don't know how that happens, but it happens enough that it's pretty common. Then we have this guy, which again is just a standard slush, nothing too crazy, but he is notable to me because he is from the UK. I did not know that when I bought him, because when I bought him, he shipped from the US. He was just secondhand, just a random secondhand slush. But when I got him, I noticed how like light his color is in this fabric, and his fabric is very similar, but it's just got an ever so slightly different texture. The inside of his ears are lighter, and he's just as a whole is just slightly different. It's like you wouldn't know it if you had it in isolation, but if you have as many slushes like I do, it's just a little bit off. And it was enough for me to be like, what is up with this? And I checked his tag and found out he was from the UK. So I don't know too much about the UK slushes, but I've had people in my comments be like, wow, your slushes are so much different from the ones in the UK. And I just have to agree. Like, it's not obvious when you first look at him, but he is very different. Like, he's by the same company. He's the same character, same toy. But just because of the different fabrics and manufacturing they do over there, I guess, it's just slightly enough difference to be noticeable to a slush collector. So I just thought that was notable. He's the only slush I do have that's from the UK, at least an official slush. I do have another one that I will get to that is technically also from the UK, but we'll get to that. So that is that slush that's notable. And we have one more slush. This is my favorite one. This one is an oddity. I like to call it an oddity. I don't have an answer for it. So this is a normal, everyday, sparkly-eyed keychain slush, but for some reason, it has this spinning metal keychain instead of the standard blue. Now, some Beanie Boo enjoyers might be, oh, I know why that is. He's from outside of the US. Because outside of the US, they use the metal keychains. And when I bought him, I specifically sought him out because I wanted at least one with a metal keychain. So when I bought him, I assumed the same thing. I'm like, he must be from the UK. And I want one that has a metal keychain as a collector's item. So I bought him. And then but when he got here, I went to go check his tag to confirm he was from the UK. And he is not. He is literally says on his tag he is from the US of A. So what happened here? Because I've never, ever, ever, anywhere I've ever gone, seen a United States slush with a metal keychain. If you guys have any answers, like if you are in the US and have seen metal keychain slushes for sale, tag me in a post or comment or something, because I want to get to the bottom of this. And it does not feel like that they like added a new one, because that original like holder thread is still attached. Like, it doesn't look like it's been picked and resewn. It looks like it's still in its factory sewing. So I don't know. Also, for those saying, oh well, he's a knockoff, he must be a knockoff. He's not a knockoff. He has the official tags. He looks identical to the official. He feels like the officials. He is most certainly a real slush. I just don't know what his backstory is or what his history is. I really want to know his origins. So if anyone has any information on that, that would be actually greatly appreciated. But for now, he remains a mystery. This mask is, it was given to me as a gift through fan mail. It was made by, I believe, Moss Flavored Dalmatians, I believe their username is, on YouTube. He basically reached out and said, hey, I want to send you fan mail and I want to make you a mask. Would you prefer Bluey or Slush? Because I also love Bluey and have a decently sized Bluey collection. But I really like Slush. Slush is my baby. I can make my own Bluey mask whenever. I mean, I could do the same with Slush too, but at the time I was feeling slushy. So I said Slush. I hadn't seen any of their masks ever. I went to their channel. I don't believe at the time they had any posts of any of their masks, so I really didn't know what I was in for. I didn't know if it was going to be good or bad. Either way, I would have loved it and treasured it, because anything a person takes their time out of their day to make and send to me, I adore. Because that means a lot to me. I wouldn't care if it was like the worst mask in the world or the best. They made it for me specifically. It would warm my heart either way. But when I pulled this thing out, I was shocked at how good it was. This is incredible. So it's got a magnetic tongue, and it works really well. It sticks right in there, super easy. He's got little dots and little unique shapes for the whisker dots. He's got fabric lined little mouth, which I like. He's got these wonderful eyes, and I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but there's actually glitter. They sprinkled glitter in the eyes to mimic Slush's glitter eyes, which I really like. And then he also has fur as the gray. This is just like a slightly fuzzy fabric, but this is fur. And his inside of his ears, I think, are fleece. And if we turn him around, he's got wonderful lining with blue, so it matches the theme. This little semi, fabric cushion. It's not super duper squishy, but it's slightly a cushion. And then we also have these big, eye lining things, which I actually really appreciate these because they're deep, so my glasses don't really touch the eyes. So I really like that, actually. And then, he's got elastic, and then he's got a top elastic, which I like. I'm always looking for top elastics because, my head is big and fat, and things fall off because I wear glasses. So that was always appreciated. Yeah, all in all, a really quality mask. I really enjoy this mask. We have this guy. I'm going to zoom out. He's tricky. There we are. So this was made by me. I just bought a random base. And right now his mouth's all messed up because I tried to line it. I'm going to fix that later because it does not look good. But normally he would just have white there. And he is a cutie pie. I love him. I actually used Sherpa for the white because at the time I didn't have any white fabric. And then I just brushed it out because it was not your usual Sherpa. So when I brushed it, it just looks like normal fur. It is prone to matting, unfortunately. But if you just brush it out right before recording, it's fine. And then, of course, he's got gray fur, which actually, I know I just said I didn't have white fabric, but I did have white fabric, but only a teeny tiny bit. And I actually dyed it gray with some leftover gray fabric dye I used to dye Zach's paws. And you're not really supposed to dye, actually, good quality faux fur because heat and stuff will warp it. But what I ended up doing is I dyed it very carefully, tried to only have it in there for the minimal amount of time I needed it for. And then I immediately went brush to make sure it wouldn't dry with matted or curly or unstraight fur. So I brushed it so while it was still hot to make sure when it dried and cooled down, it wouldn't be all warped. And it worked for the most part. Some parts I was unable to keep. But for the most part, he is great. He does have slightly uneven dyeing in some parts, but again, it's not so noticeable that it's the end of the world. The fur is not as perfect as it once was before I dyed it, but it worked for what it was. And I actually didn't have hardly any blue fabric, and so what I ended up using for the ears, it was too thin, so I ended up cutting it into multiple pieces and then sewing it together in patches to make the ears. So that was fine. His ears are just foam, very fluffy. All in all, a cool guy. I actually put glitter in the eyes. It's not blue glitter, it was just whatever glitter I had. I do want to redo these eyes and just cover them in like a lightish blue glitter. But for now, that works. This is, of course, the giant handmade slush. I kept his fur really long because I love Big Fuzzy. It probably would look better if I shaved it, but I kind of like him the way he is. I did his paws. He's got a big floppy tail. I did not use the tail pattern because I was really tired, so I just sewed 2 pieces of fabric together loosely in a tail shape, so now it looks like it has a big beaver tail. I like it though. I think it's charming and funny. Like I had said previously, I dissected a slush for its pattern to make this, and I think it turned out well. I embroidered the mouth, just glued on a nose with some leather-like fabric, fake leather. I didn't have any big eyes, so I just made some out of like some random blue fabric I had. It's actually got like flowers and stuff on it, but it's what I had. Not really much to say. Took me like 3 days to sew it, all hand sewn. Fur is expensive. I bought it specifically to make this guy. All in all, cool guy. I also made this little guy with the same pattern, but I just used the small version that I originally took from it before I sized it up. And I sewed this guy. Very cute. When I first, again, not really much to say. I did buy these eyes online, so they're not official Beanie Boo eyes, but they look so close that it's like, they work fine. He has like turquoise ears. This fabric looked much more blue in the pictures, so it's quite a shame that it came out as turquoise. Again, very cute, very nice. Not really much to say. This is the prototype. I sewed out of felt to make sure the pattern worked, which I think came out really well, but the reason why the arms are so long compared to the legs is I did mess up sewing the pattern and made these legs weirdly short because I just got confused. But I figured out exactly where I went wrong, and I knew I wouldn't be able to repeat it again. So I just decided to go ahead and sew the final version, because other than me messing up out of my own error, the pattern worked fine. He just looks silly, so I kept him. I actually do display him with my other slushes just because I think he's funny. He reminds me of the autism creature, or like the TBH or whatever. I think he looks similar to that. Very silly guy. We have Angel Slush. I had some leftover wings that I had bought to put on my King Essa's harness. I had some left over, so I decided to use some colored glue sticks and make a little halo. And then I just glued the wings on. I think it came out very cute. This is less a super custom. I just wanted to see what would happen if I tried to give a slush makeup. And I know it looks bad on the face, but I just thought it looked funny enough, so I kept it. I also gave him little paws, which I think are very cute. Normally I would want blue paws, but I just thought pink looked cute because of his makeup. And it's the paint I already had out. So, very cute. Again, not really much to say. This was my first ever customized slush. I did black over his gray with an airbrush. And then I changed his white to be blue. And I know I always about, oh, slushes have to be consistent. So you're probably like, why did you customize him then? It's because he was already consistent and I wanted to try something silly. I'm not manufacturing them. I think if you manufacture slushes, they should be as consistent as possible. But if I just want to change mine of my own will, I think that's fine. If you want to change your slush of your own will, that's also fine. But when they make them, they should, by default, be as close to the original slush as possible, for collectors' sake. This is one of my favorite slushes, and the only slush that's a girl. Well, technically Slush is supposed to be a girl, but I've always called him a he, so that's what's been cemented into my mind. But this slush is the only one I consider a girl. This is Killer McStabaman, and she is a diva. I painted on little eyelids because I thought it made her look sassy. And she is a serial killer and has taken many lives. Love her, diva. This is the last Slush custom. This was a fan request. Someone had requested that I try and make a slush into a Fugler. And so I tried my best. I know people said, oh, you should have done the button eyes. But I don't really like the button eyes, and also I didn't have any buttons. I actually really like slushes when they have, or not slushes, Fuglers when they have little eyelids. I think it makes them look very silly and creepy. So I did that for mine because I just like that look better. I also gave him teeth. My dog has a Fugler dog toy. And it was made to be a dog toy. It was by default designed to be a dog toy. And it had these little rubber teeth. And when she chewed up the toy, the teeth fell out. And I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to save these. I don't know what I'll use them for, but I'm sure I'm going to use them for something. And they sat in my closet for a couple months. But then someone's like, you should make a Fugler slush. And I'm like, you know what? I actually have some spare Fugler teeth. Let's give it a shot. So that's what I did. And something that might not be obvious, but I also did not use the original slush nose. Fuglers have these like more like canine realistic noses, and I had a big box of eyes and noses, so I just decided to glue a nose in there from that kit instead of his original nose. Alright, so now back into the really interesting slushes. Up next, we're going to go through the slushes that aren't slushes. So basically any slush that looks identical to the slush is a slush, but they named it something completely different for literally no reason. We have Timber, and I apologize for the little stain on Timber's face. I put him in a big box with some of my other slushes, and they got a little stained. I'm going to wash him soon. He just has a little dust on him right now. So Timber, I consider to be slush-like. He is a gray and white husky with blue eyes and ears, and I think that makes him close enough to the slush, considering he is also made by the official corporation as a McDonald's toy. I think he is considered a slush in my books because of how eerily similar he is. He has the same color palette, same species, same everything pretty much. They just kind of messed with the pattern a bit. So this is why this doesn't infuriate me too bad that he's named Timber and not Slush, is because he does have different designs. The little white actually doesn't end in a point, it ends at his nose, which is different. The belly is different. Oh, excuse me, he doesn't have white paws. He has a white underbelly with inner white legs. And then his tail is also not blue on the underside, which honestly doesn't really indicate much because most of the official Slush keychains have that too. But weirdly enough, considering this is a McDonald's toy and hence would be cheaper, they actually did use 2 pieces of fabric on his tail and sewed it. They sewed it really weird, just like that. But honestly, I would take that any day over the nub tail. So it's weird to me that a McDonald's toy or like a Happy Meal or some restaurant toy has more effort put into the tail than the official things you buy. This would come free with a Happy Meal. But no, the official toys are lower quality in that category. The eyes, I will say, are cheaper. They're very small compared to his head, which is kind of weird because Beanie Boo's whole thing is huge eyes. But again, not complaining too much. His shade of eye blue and ears are lighter than the normal blue on a slush, but again, they're so inconsistent these days with their colors, so that, again, doesn't really indicate much. The only real main thing that I think would be an argument against this not being a slush is the pattern on his belly and head. This is Yukon. He is that Beanie Balls I was talking about. These are the original ones that they discontinued and then tried again, and then later changed to Puffies. He has slush ears, slush colors, slush patterns, slush everything. He's a ball. The only thing that's different from the original slush is he has blue paws instead of white, which I kind of understand why they went with that design choice, because if they're going to be wrapping around his belly, 2 whites would kind of look weird. I know why they did the feet too, because you want them to match. It would be weird if he had white feet but blue paws on his arms. So I get that, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. He's also got, like, I know it's supposed to be cheek fluff, but it kind of comes across like a beard because his rest of his face isn't long fur like most slushes, but you know, it is what it is. Also, I really think they just should have called this guy Slush. He looks just like Slush. It's clear that they took heavy inspiration from Slush to make this guy. I think it should have just been Slush. But again, different pattern, different ball shape, and then he already has some details different. I see why they changed his name, but I do not agree with it. But I understand it. Scout. Scout has white paws that are almost mitten-like, which I don't care for. I think that's weird. He's a phone holder, first of all. He holds phones, so he looks like that. I really think they should have made his back feet white as well. But I kind of get it. It would have been a lot of effort, and they just embroidered these on, so I'll excuse that. He has a blue fluffy tail, very, like, slush-like face. Like, if you took this off his head and replaced the nose with a plastic one and sewed it onto another slush body, it would look nearly identical. Like, it would be almost indecipherable. So that is why it makes me so mad that his official name is Scout. Very, very upsetting to me. He is very clearly Slush. Why, again, they changed his name is beyond me. I guess they thought because his design was slightly different, it was worth it to change the name into an entirely new thing. But if that was such an issue, why do we have the Slush Flippables with drastically different designs, and then they're all Slush? I find that to be unacceptable, in my opinion. This is very minor first world problems that don't really matter, but they matter to my brain. So that is why I think that's stupid. This is Haley the Husky. She is another Happy Meal toy, but only from the UK were these in the Happy Meals. It's also a Christmas Happy Meal. So the Happy Meal toys of this all had like scarves and hats and stuff. Again, they didn't actually use plastic eyes. The eyes are actually, if I can pull one up, very, very similar and reminiscent of the beanie, not the beanie, the Squishaboos. They look very, very similar. The only main difference is that they're smaller, and the blue isn't glittery. It's like embroidered thread. Everything else is pretty much the same. She has, I guess she, because it's Haley, but it's Slush, but whatever. She has a embroidered nose and mouth. Again, it baffles me that McDonald's Happy Meal toys have these details that the official keychains don't, like a mouth. And then the ears are actually glitter fabric, but I actually don't mind it as much. It's a much smoother and less scratchy glitter fabric, so I don't care too much about that. They're still blue, very faintly, but they are blue. Tail, I hate this tail. It's a bunny tail. It doesn't even look like a husky tail. It's literally a nub. It's big and round. Like, it's worse than the keychain tails. Like, it's one sheet of fabric, but it doesn't even look like a husky tail. Like, to any degree. That's a rabbit tail. Don't care for that. Haley, like I said, came all the way from the UK. I spent literally like $30 to $40 trying to get her here. And she took like a month to arrive. And she's supposed to be like a Christmas ornament. You're supposed to hang her on her tree. This should have just been Slush. Look at that. It has the belly. It doesn't go all the way down, but it does reattach here. So I'm not too upset about that. It's got the white paws. This. Literally Slush. There is no reason this should not have been called Slush. Completely inexcusable. This is Slush. This should have been Slush. Alright, now onto the worst, most anger-inducing person in my collection. This guy. This is Prince. And if you've seen my YouTube shorts, I made an entire short on why this is. If you want to see me be very angry and silly at the same time, go to my favorites playlist. It should be in there somewhere, or probably also into the Slush Brain Rot playlist, which you can also hear way more about my slushes there. But this guy checks all the boxes of a slush. He's got blue eyes, slush face, slush design. He's got slush colors, white paws, blue inner ears. Prince. Why? The only thing that's even remotely different, and he's got that god-threaded glitter fabric in his ears for no reason. But you know what? Whatever. But what really pisses me off is not even this plush itself. Like, this plush by itself makes me very angry that it even exists with that name. But they actually do have an official Slush Teeny Tai, and you know what he looks like? Exactly like Prince, the official Prince, which is just a blue husky. It's like Slush, but instead of gray, he's blue. So, the official Slush is blue, looks exactly like Prince, and is called Slush, but the one that actually resembles Slush and looks exactly like Slush is called Prince, and he looks nothing like the Prince Beanie Boo. And keep in mind, this is not a factory error. This is not something that is a factory error. The official Slush is not a fake. These were official. All of them. All the Slushes that were manufactured with, like, all of the ones that look like this were all manufactured. Every single one of them with the Prince tag. That is deliberately what they chose. And same thing goes for the other one. They all deliberately chose to swap the names for no reason at all. And it's not like they made them, like, I don't even know how you'd make that mistake. They look so drastically different in color. I don't know how you would even mix that up and also not be able to catch it and fix it. I don't like that. It feels to me like they literally just did it to make people confused and angry. You want consistency. I want consistency. I love him, but the reason why this one particular makes me so angry is because I knew this guy existed. Before I collected Slush, I remember seeing him in stores. But every time I searched for a Slush Teeny Tai, all it ever showed me was the blue one. I'm like, I know for a fact this guy existed. And I ended up finding him in a bundle with a bunch of other Teeny Tais, and I spent a bunch of money to get him specifically because I thought I would never see him again because I could never find a listing for him. Only for me to take him home, look at his tag, and realize the reason I couldn't find him is because he's not named Slush, he's named Prince, which means making me find him a nightmare. And again, that is why I'm so angry with the names, is because if they look so similar to Slush, if you name them something different, it makes it like a bajillion times harder for me to find them. Same thing goes for Haley the Husky. I saw a listing for Haley the Husky once. I favorited it, forgot about it. That listing sold, and I didn't know the name, so when I searched Slush Ornament, Slush with Scarf, Slush, nothing would come up. After so long, I finally managed to find this guy, only for me to realize it was named Haley the Husky the whole time. Stupid and infuriating to find. This is Buff. He is technically not even a Beanie Boo, he's a Beanie Babies, which I don't know why, he's got whatever. But he is Buff, he is not Slush, and he is notable because he has black back of the ears, white inner ears. He does have the Slush face and paws and kind of underbelly. His paws are mostly, or his entire arms are mostly white instead of just the paws. And then his tail also doesn't even have white under it. This is definitely a different creature. He's a husky, yes, but he's completely different. He even has like a more realistic nose. Different guy. I still love him though. And then here's the bigger version I have. Again, realistic nose, same thing, same design, all around, just a bigger version of that. This is a Slush Fake, as you can tell because his name is Fake. His inner ears are smooth glitter fabric. The back of his ears are black. His face has a different pattern of the white to make him legally distinct. He's got an embroidered mouth that doesn't match up with the nose. His eyes are glitter plastic. His paws, his under paws are glitter blue fabric. His tail is just normal, no blue fluff. His arms are the same as Buff's, all white. Like I said, his tail, no blue. And this is an official Little Dreamers plush. They actually have one just like this, but pink. Like same pattern, just pink. I don't have that one because that one's so different from Slush. I just don't even consider it the same. So again, nothing too notable, just a knockoff. Love him though. So we've got the Eraser Slush. He's got everything a Slush has. He's not outlined, but he does have a mouth, but it's just carved in. He's got a white belly for what it is worth. His paws aren't white, which is a shame. He's got blue eyes. The back of his head, you can see his ears are all blue instead of just the inside. He has a tail little carved in. But I kind of get that. It would have been way too hard to give him all the little details, especially considering he's a puzzle eraser. This guy is so old, though, I've never taken him apart because I'm afraid that if I do take him apart, I won't be able to get him back together or the parts will break. So I just keep him all in one piece. I've never taken him apart. It's not worth the risk. So now that we've done that guy, this is my second rarest Slush merch. And I say merch because it's a sticker book. This took me a long time to find. Very long time. There's only one listing that eventually showed up, and it came with like 3 other sticker books with other Beanie Boo characters. I was only interested in the Slush one, so I've actually been cutting the stickers and putting them as freebies into some of my orders just to get rid of them because, you know, I paid for all of them, but I only wanted the Slush, so I gotta get my money's worth and use them instead of buying stickers to put in my order. So this is the Slush one. I actually have used quite a bit of the Slush stickers in here. They're not all Slush. There are pretty much all dogs, but not all of them are slush. Rain or Shine is a slush quote from his tag, his little poem. And then we can flip through here. I've used almost all of the slush stickers because I wanted to use them for special things. I think there's still a few in here if I go and flip through. Like there's one, there's one, there's one. But that is the last page I have of slush stickers. So I don't plan on using any more. I want to keep some pristine, but I used a lot of them. I put some on my laptop. I put some on this display stand I have. But other than that, this is one of my favorite collector's items. It's got slush right on the front, sticker book, big like Beanie Boo sticker. I like this guy. The pen slush. This is the rarest slush I own. It's took me. I didn't even think he actually existed because I found pen slush or pen Beanie Boos that existed, but they all were any of the real actual like physical pictures of them were fine. There were tons of them, but there was never one of slush. Sometimes you would see all the pens and slush together depicted in a picture, but it would just be a Photoshop picture of a normal size slush, like one this size. It was just photoshopped and shrunken down to be on a pen. But it was very obvious it was not a miniature slush. It was just a shrunken image or PNG of a normal slush slapped onto a pen. I could not find a single image of an actual pen slush that actually existed. I had no idea what it even looked like. Until one day, I was browsing Mercari, and a new listing popped up with a bundle of 3 Beanie Boo pens, one of which being the slush. So I got to see him, and it is very strange. He is very small, even compared to the keychains. Like, I'm trying to find a keychain here. There we go. He is teeny tiny. I wasn't sure when I bought him if he would just be a slush keychain popped onto a pen. But no, he is miniature. He is the smallest, I believe, slush plush that's ever existed officially. So, he's really cool. He's got no mouth, which this time I actually kind of understand. He is so small that would have been basically impossible. His tail is microscopic. It is very small. And I do understand, again, why they didn't do blue on this one. And I feel like that's excusable. Same with the belly. His belly is pointed instead of squared and boxed off, like the official slush keychains, if I find the one I just set down. So he's got box, he's got point, which leads me to believe that this is a different pattern exclusively to the pen slushes. So this is a very cool little guy. Love him. And this is another one I found just a couple days later. If I hadn't found the slush pen that I already had, I probably would have thought this guy was just a broken keychain. But now that I was familiar with what they looked like, I was able to recognize him as a pen slush. And I bought him. And so he says slush, but something again that's not very obvious is his tag is very small. It's like a miniature tag compared to the big ones. It's very small in comparison. So this one was without the pen when I bought him. He was already broken, which is, funnily enough, he's got like the spot where the pen was. So he looks like he's got a little blue butthole. It's really stupid looking and very funny. So, yeah, he's got like a interesting butt. Not his fault though, but it just makes me laugh really hard. Yeah, I like that, the fact that I was able to find one without the pen actually, because I wanted one I could just hold on to and like handle without the pen, but I wouldn't want to cut one off myself. I would never want to damage or ruin an already intact pen. But this guy was already ruined when I bought him, and I'm grateful that someone else already ruined him so I wouldn't have to. Yeah, so I am actually fine with having a broken one. And the fact that I have 2 of these pen slushes, I've never seen another one, by the way. After I bought these 2, I have yet to be able to see one online for sale that is like this. There actually is one more rare slush that I'm potentially going to have in my collection soon. This one is so rare, it's practically lost media. Like, I'm going to be honest, I saw a picture of it a fan had sent me. I'm not going to name the fan because they've asked to remain completely anonymous and not announce what it is or who they are or what's going on or show any pictures of the slush until I actually receive the slush. So I'm not going to be able to give much details because I want to respect their privacy and their desires. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to get it for sure yet. But just to be safe, it is a slush of some sort that I had never seen in my life. And when they showed me a picture of it, I was shocked. At first, I'm always skeptical of what might be a fake slush, or because a lot of times people will send me buff thinking that it's like a super rare undiscovered slush. But no. So I'm always skeptical when I get tagged in. Did you find this slush? This is a new slush you've never seen. But I clicked on it always out of curiosity. So when I clicked on it and saw that it legitimately was something I had never seen before, I was so curious. And thankfully, they had actually shown me the bottom of this slush. And I'm not going to tell you exactly, but it is very clear it was manufactured at some point by Tai Corporation. And I am really excited to hopefully get this guy in my collection. I reverse image searched the images they gave me. Nothing. Zero information on this slush. Not even a picture was available online. So this slush is very clearly lost media, or I don't even know what you would call that because it's not media, it's a physical item. But whatever it was lost to time and does not show up when you search for it, does not show up when you reverse image search the actual images. So I am very excited to hopefully have this guy in my collection. Again, super excited. In fact, there's a couple other potential slushes that existed. I've had a commenter tell me at one point at Claire's, I think, that they saw slush earrings that, according to them, were miniature. Well, actually, they said they didn't see slush earrings. They saw miniature Beanie Boo earrings that were like tiny little figurines, and that they were fuzzy and flocked, and they were earrings. And they said that they've never seen it. I think they said they didn't see a slush one, but considering how popular slush was and how it was Claire's level, or Claire's, like back when Claire's had like Beanie Boos, because I don't even think they have them anymore, but that was in the peak of the Beanie Boo craze. And I really think that if they were to do it, they had less Beanie Boos back then, and slush was one of the core ones. I'm sure that they could potentially have made slush earrings, they said. So I've never even seen any Beanie Boo earrings that are similar to the way they described, but that is something I keep in the back of my mind. They're potentially maybe slush earrings. Another really rare slush thing is recently a commenter had told me they own what they believe to be an official slush money bank. They did make a Beanie Boo money bank, but it was of the leopard, one of the leopards, and I've never seen any other Beanie Boos besides the leopard. But the fact that there is a slush leopard, or the fact there is a Beanie Boo money bank at all, and the fact that now my commenter is like, hey, I have a slush Beanie Boo bank, then yeah, I would like to have that. They offered to send it to me, but ended up having to back out because their parents wouldn't let them, which totally fine, totally fair. I recently sent them a message being like, hey, even if you can't send it to me, I would love pictures of it, as many as you could send, in like a community post that you make and tag me in. That would be great, because any pictures at all, I would love to at least document them, even if I can't have them. And also, of course, images of it would help me potentially find another one. Because something that a lot of people don't realize is some people will sell slushes and just not even call them Beanie Boos, not even call them slushes, because they don't know what they are or where they came from. It's just some junk that they're wanting to get rid of. So just having pictures of it will tremendously help me locate another one. So again, if you guys have any Beanie Boos that you know I don't have in my collection, because if they're not any of the ones I've shown here, I don't have in my collection. Even if you're not sure if I have them or not, like, just send me anything you think might be a slush I don't have, especially if they're not like shoes or masks. Because I know there's a face mask. I don't have it yet, but I want it. I know they have all these shoes I want. I know they have the wallets. I know all of those exist. So if you have anything that's not that you haven't seen in my collection, you haven't seen publicly, please make a post and tag me in it. There is a very high potential it could be either a fake or a slush I don't know exists yet. Again, there's pinata slushes I know exist. There's a slush googly eye sticker that I know exists. There is a puffy slush sticker that I know exists, but I've never seen other than one singular image. And then there's also a slush pinata that I know exists, but I have never been able to find one ever for sale. There's only one official picture I've seen of it, and one like weird photoshopped one that I can tell isn't actually real. It was like a placeholder image. I don't think I'll ever be able to find an official Slush pinata for sale because they are literally made to be destroyed, and they're made out of cardboard and paper. The only way I would ever see one for sale is if, one, someone had one in like their attic or whatever and just was like, oh, cool, and it isn't water damage or damaged at all because, you know, they're cardboard and paper, the most damageable things ever. And so it would theoretically have to be untouched, undamaged, and then also for these people to look at them, know what it is, and think it would be worth it enough to try and sell it, which is incredibly unlikely considering it would be made out of cardboard and paper. They probably wouldn't even remember it was a Beanie Boo. They would just think it's some husky and probably would just throw it away. So the chances of me ever finding one of these things is so incredibly slim. But again, I hold out hope forever. If one of those ever pops up, it's going to go into my collection immediately. If you have one, please let me know. If you have any slushes that you think I might not be aware of, again, don't hesitate to tag me. Even if they don't end up being one of them, I would love it to be tagged in it just to be safe. Because there is so many slushes out there that I've heard people describe vaguely, but don't have any pictures of or whatever, leads me to believe there is a lot of slush lost media. There is a slush animatronic I found very grainy videos of that was in a Christmas like display at some mall to advertise Beanie Boos. There was a slush animatronic. There's only a very few, one set of footage I think I found of it ever. I have it downloaded and saved so I'll never lose it. But like, I would literally kill someone for that animatronic. I'm sure it's not even in existence anymore. I think they probably just made one of them, and most likely, considering how it goes, it probably was destroyed and trashed after they no longer needed it. Or it's deep in storage, never to see the light of day. But again, I'm always hopeful because sometimes things just pop up. So, we'll see. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. This is probably going to be a very long video because this is my part 2 of my recording and it's an hour long and the other part was like 45 minutes. So I don't know how long this video is going to be. I can't cut out too much because I want to get all my opinions out there. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!